The more you explain, the weaker you appear, the more you react, the more power you surrender, and the harder you try to prove yourself, the more others see your wounds. In a noisy world, silence isn't passive, it's a calculated choice. When your words are twisted, truth weaponized, and your reactions become their amusement, it's no longer a conversation, but a psychological game. The louder you shout, the deeper you lose. Here's the truth you need to grasp. You don't need to fight back, raise your voice, or justify your worth. What you need is silence and time. When you stop speaking, the universe starts working. Your silence is loud, but the cosmos is louder. Truth has an undeniable pull, always finding its way back. In this video, we'll explore 7 moments where a wise man chooses absolute silence, not out of fear, but from strength to protect his energy, preserve his dignity, and let others' actions unravel them. Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of mastery. Stay with me until the end, because the final chapter will reshape how you view silence forever. Few things sting more than being falsely accused. Your instinct is to defend, to set the record straight, to prove you're not what they claim. But here's the harsh truth. No one wants your defense. The more you explain, the guiltier you seem. The more you seek clarity, the deeper you sink into their chaos. Those who spread lies don't seek truth. They crave your reaction. They want you rattled, unsteady, proving your innocence so they can twist it into guilt. Here's the trap: react, and you've already lost. This is where Stoicism draws the line. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it's not true, don't say it. If it's not right, don't do it." That's it, no begging, no justifying. Live by your integrity, not their narrative. Truth has what lies never will: endurance. Lies spread fast but fade faster. Truth takes time but needs no defense. It reveals itself. Let me share a story. A man named James was wrongly accused at work. Rumors spread. Colleagues shunned him. At first, he wanted to clear his name, but instead, he chose silence and composure. He kept working, letting his actions speak. Weeks later, the truth surfaced, exposing the accuser's history of deceit. By staying silent, James preserved his dignity and rose above the noise. That's Stoic strength. So, when falsely accused, what do? First, trust the long game. Lies are loud, but truth endures. Let time do its quiet work. Second, anchor yourself in your values. When you know who you are, external noise can't touch you. Third, let karma speak for you. Liars often spiral into their own drama, trapping themselves. Finally, silence isn't surrender. It's self-respect. You're not hiding. You're rising above pettiness and lies. Let them talk. Let them spin. And let truth do what it always does: return. Betrayal doesn't just hurt. It shakes your foundation. It comes from those you trusted: friends, partners, family. When betrayed, it feels like your chest caves in. Your first instinct is to confront, to ask, "Why did you do this?" or demand, "Do you see the damage you caused?" But the brutal truth is, betrayers have already justified their actions. They either don't see their fault, or, worse, don't care. The more you seek closure, the more you reopen the wound. When someone betrays you, they're after your energy, your pain, your confusion. That's their power. Proof they matter. So what happens when you give them nothing? No anger, not revenge, just silence. They realize they've lost not just your voice but your spirit. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Betrayal is friction, painful but clarifying, revealing who stays and who doesn't. Let me tell you about Sarah. A woman with a decade-long friend. They shared everything: dreams, doubts, victories. But one day, Sarah learned her friend betrayed her, leaking secrets and sabotaging her success. Out of envy or insecurity, Sarah wanted to confront, to vent, to make her friend feel the pain. Instead, she chose silence. No fight, no noisy, just a quiet exit. That friend expected a storm, braced for chaos, but got only absence. That silence haunted her, heavier than any words. When betrayed, first, accept the truth about who they are, not the version you hoped for. That person is gone. Second, don't waste words on those who scribble your worth in pencil. You don't need to justify what they chose to ignore. Third, walk away without explanation. Silence forces reflection, something betrayers dodge. Finally, you're the victor. They lost someone loyal and rare like you. Let them live with that loss, not through punishment, but through your absence and peace. Insults are cheap, which is why the weak wield them. When someone mocks or attacks with venomous words, they're not after truth. They want your reaction, a spark to fuel their narrative. Respond, even sharply, and you hand them control. The wiser path is to refuse their game. You don't need to win an argument. You just need to stay out of it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." Read that again. When insulted, they want to drag you into the mud, to strip your dignity. But a grounded man doesn't dwell in filth, he observes. Unshaken, and rises above. Consider David, a man who earned a hard-fought promotion at a company event. A jealous colleague sneered publicly. Guess anyone can climb the ladder now. All eyes turned to David, waiting for his retort. But he didn't argue or explain. He met the colleague's gaze, smiled faintly, and stayed silent. That silence didn't just win the room, it disarmed his attacker, leaving them powerless in the face of his calm. How do you handle insults? First, see what they're fishing for, not truth, but your peace. Don't let them have it. Second, let your calm speak louder than words. Your steady face and voice carry more weight than any comeback. Third, hold your ground. Confidence doesn't debate, and self-respect doesn't explain. By not stooping, you leave them grasping at nothing. True strength doesn't shout or show off. The most powerful response to an insult is indifference. Some people don't want resolution, they crave attention. Twisting the story to play the victim, they rewrite history, erase their role, distort facts, shed tears. And suddenly, you're the villain. The more you explain, the weaker you look. As outsiders see you attacking someone suffering, they flip the script. You're the aggressor. They're the misunderstood soul. This isn't conflict, it's theater, and you're cast as the enemy. Stoic wisdom warns of this trap. Epictetus said, Complaining is always useless and never fitting. Victims don't complain for solutions, they do it for sympathy. Defending yourself only fuels their performance. The only win is silence. Take Rachel, a woman with a colleague who twisted the truth. When held accountable, this colleague cried, deflected, and blamed others. Rachel tried reasoning, presenting evidence calmly, but it backfired. Emotions trump logic in prolonged disputes. So Rachel stopped, refusing to argue or justify, embracing a stoic silence that stood firm like a rock. Time passed, and the truth emerged. People saw the colleague's pattern, always a new sob story, a new enemy, a new injustice. The act collapsed. So how do you deal with those playing the victim? First, don't defend yourself. They're not listening, just performing. Second, keep emotional distance. Observe without being swept into their chaos. Third, trust karma's cycle. People may fall for their act once or twice, but not forever. Finally, you owe no clarity to those who thrive on ambiguity. Let them play their role. Chase their audience. Follow their script. Their show will end, and your silence will be the curtain drop. The greatest insult isn't their words, it's their indifference. You show up, give your all, care deeply, call, text, be present, and get only silence. Neglect, apathy in return. No explosion, no betrayal. Just a slow erosion of your worth in their eyes. The harsh truth is this: the more you try to prove your worth, the less they see it. People don't value what's always there. They cherish what they fear losing. When you're constantly present, always reaching out, you become background noise in their world. You don't become essential. You become invisible. This is where Stoicism hands you back your power. Seneca said, "Time reveals the truth." Sometimes, the truth they need to face is your absence. Consider Jake, our steadfast man, always checking in, remembering birthdays, asking about your day. But he noticed something no one asked about his. If he stopped reaching out, silence stretched from days to weeks. He realized he wasn't valued, just convenient. No arguments, no explanations. He simply stopped. The result: those who truly cared reached out. Those who didn't faded away. That was his answer. So, when your worth is ignored, what do? First, stop chasing. If they don't see your value when you're there, let them feel it when you're gone. Second, say nothing. Silence forces them to notice. Your absence makes your worth undeniable. Third, watch who makes the effort. Those who matter don't need reminders. They'll sense the shift and draw closer, not drift away. Finally, you don't prove your value by trying harder, but by creating distance. Those worthy of your energy will feel your silence. Those who aren't never belonged in your orbit. Never beg to be seen by those who've closed their eyes. Some people don't want peace. They want your reaction. They provoke, taunt, and say things they know will cut deep. Not because they're bold, but because it's their only way to feel powerful. When you react, they win. When you argue, they're fed. When your emotions flare, they know they've got you. The truth many miss is that their goal isn't conflict, it's control. They want to break your composure, make you act on their terms. If they can provoke you, they're pulling the strings behind a false smile. But Stoicism is your shield. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the essence of self-mastery. You can't stop their provocations, but you can deny them what they crave your reaction. Take Adam, a man with a colleague who thrived on chaos. Every meeting brought jabs, sly insults, or supplies, crafted to dodge accountability. At first, Adam defended himself. Argid explained, but each time he left drained. Then he changed. The next time his colleague provoked, Adam gave a faint smile, a calm nod, and silence. No glares, no tension, juste quiet, indifference. The colleague faltered, confused, used to playing with fire. He didn't know what to do when the spark wouldn't ignite. Eventually, he gave up without fuel. Even the most toxic flame dies out. So how do you handle provocation first? Recognize the pattern. Repetition betrays their motive. If someone constantly stirs conflict, it's not personal, it's strategy. Second, hold your ground emotionally. Don't let their bait pull you off balance. Control your breath, your voice, your presence. Third, let calm be your strength. The less you waver, the more powerless they feel. Finally, not every slight deserves your energy, nor every foe your response. The strongest man in the room isn't the loudest. He's the one whose silence is armor, unshaken by any attempt to provoke. Regret is loud. Bu silence écho, loude. When they take you for granted, ignore your worth. Assume you'll always be there. Then one day, you're gone. Their silence, once dismissive, becomes deafening. Your presence was once their anchor, until you left new arguments. No outbursts, just a quid departure. At first, they ignored it, but weeks turned to months. Calls went unanswered, and the echo of your absence grew louder than their neglect. They begged, apologized, promised change. But Olivia had already healed in silence. Her quiet, becoming her freedom. When someone regrets losing you, first, don't let them back easily if your worth was overlooked. Your absence must be felt. Second, resist explaining. Let them bear the weight of their actions without your words to soften it. Third, hold your silence, not from spite, but from self-respect. Finally, they had their chance and squandered it. Let them face that truth alone. Your silence isn't punishment, it's wisdom. Declaring you won't let anyone drift in and out of your life expecting an open door. You don't need to shout to be heard, fight to win, or speak to leave a mark. In a world addicted to noise, silence is a bold act. It's not weakness or surrender. It's the language of those who need no external validation. By staying silent, you reclaim your power. Step out of their traps, and let time, truth, and karma finish the story. You don't need to write. A steady man doesn't chase approval, beg for closure, or falter in the noise. He steps back and lets the universe do what it does best, restore balance. So, when someone lies, betrays, insults, provokes, or regrets, don't respond. Don't explain. Don't perform. Just observe and wait. Karma doesn't need your help. It only needs your silence. If this resonates deep within you, If you find truth in these words, don't just walk away. Join Think Stoic 101, where strength is quiet, wisdom is sharp, and every word endures.